Aloha and welcome to another Thursday with Hawaii Farmer Series. I'm your co-host, Justini Spiritu. All my dreams have come true and Matthew Johnson has returned to me.
I'm back.
Thank you. Thank you, Think Tech, for giving us this opportunity. Every Thursday, we bring on a variety of individuals and organizations that are a part of our local food system. We like to get folks' background story, why they do what they do, what they love about it, and kind of try to get their insight on what is the future for local food in Hawaii. If you're watching and want to be a part of the conversation, feel free to tweet in at ThinkTechHi. So Matt, can you talk about today's guests?
Yeah, and so for that whole tweeting thing, I was trying to do that last week, so I guess you really have to put in the @ symbol and we were talking about before. Well, I don't know what I did. Like, I was sending pictures and all these great questions, and maybe next time. So yes, thanks Justine, and it's great to be back. And yeah, this week we have another couple of great guests all the way out from the west side, Waianae, from Kahumana Organic Farms. So we have with us Christian Zuckerman and also Keli'i Gannet, who are the farm managers for the farm, and also going to be talking about the cafe, as well as the nonprofit organization that they work with. So yeah, welcome guys. Thanks for coming to the show.
Thank you for having us.
We're real excited to have you here. And so why don't you guys go ahead and give us a little background on yourself, and how did you guys become farm managers at the ripe age of, what, 18? How old are you guys?
Close. Not quite. Well, I actually grew up at Kahumana. So my family moved to Kahumana when I was 3.5. And then I graduated, went to college when I was 19. Came back after graduation, and the farm manager at the time, he was leaving and they had no replacement. So they asked me to sort of step in for a couple months just to keep things going until they found a new farm manager.
3 years later.
Yeah, 3.5 years later, here I am.
All right. So when you say you grew up at Kahumana, so you grew up on the farm or actually the organization?
On the farm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Great.
So my parents moved there, and my dad was running the kitchen when we were a special treatment facility for chronically mentally ill, so he was running that whole department, and then he was also working in the program.
Great. And your dad's still there today, yeah?
Yes, he now is a cafe manager.
Okay. Great. Awesome. So Keli'i, how about you?
I was actually born and raised in New Jersey. My mother, though, is from Oahu. She was born and raised in Honolulu. Most of her family's out here. I actually came out about 4 years ago for my grandfather's funeral. I had nothing really going for me in New Jersey at the time. Decided I wanted to stick it in Hawaii. I had a friend who introduced me to the woofing site. So I looked for a few spots around because I was interested in learning about farming. I actually found a 1-acre hobby farm right around the corner of Kahumana, Happy Ponics.
Okay.
Stayed with a lovely old lady named Rachel for about 8 months. At that time, I was going over to Kahumana because I was looking for friends. I was by myself over there. Ended up meeting Christian and his younger brother Lucas, and then he told me they actually got a grant proposal approved from OHA to hire an assistant farm manager to help expand the farm production, as well as expand our aquaponics program into our transitional housing for homeless families program. So that's how I started. That was a 1-year contract, and then they continued my contract on as an organization for indefinitely is the word I'm looking for.
Yeah. So then you guys have really been kind of running this farm for just, was it 3 years now?
3.5 years now.
3.5 years.
Yeah.
And then Keli'i, you had like that kind of 1-year experience at the aquaponics farm?
Yeah, it was about 8 months.
Okay.
Yeah. Again, it's more of Rachel. She has a day job to support herself. So this is her hobby. She grew up on a big family farm in Iowa. This is what she loves to do. So, yeah, she run the woofing program, small stuff though, really like no sales as a farm. It was really just because she loved to do it. So I was there just helping her out because she was she's older, so she had trouble doing certain, manual labor tasks. So that's why she had the woofing program at her site.
Oh, great.
And so were you interested in the whole aspect of growing food, or were you just looking for some way
yeah.
to sustain yourself here?
Food is definitely what got me into this. Growing up, I've worked in restaurants my whole life to support myself in various ways. Everything, mostly front of house, but, busboy, server, manager. And it dawned on me one day that I had no idea where the food I was serving was coming from, or how the hell to grow it. So I kind of wanted to get into the other end of the food industry, and that's what sent me down this rabbit hole.
So when you were in New Jersey, did you have any thoughts about getting into farming, or was it when you really got over to Oahu?
Yeah, it was really Oahu. I found out in college about the woofing program, but never really thought about it too much until I wanted to move to Hawaii. And I was like, let me check it out. And sure enough, there's like 120 sites plus in the state for the website. Oahu alone has like at least 30 different sites you can go visit. It was a good way. Like I said, I have family here. Everyone was offering me a place, like a couch to sleep on until I got my feet on the ground. But I kind of wanted to do my own thing. So finding a place that gives you a place to sleep and food to eat and teaches you about farming seemed like a good situation to me.
Yeah. So you guys mentioned a few times, and we've had other guests talk about woofing. Can you guys give us a little background on, I guess, your experience with it, and then talk a little bit about woofing at Kahumana?
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, WOOFing stands for Worldwide Opportunities on Organic Farms. It's an international work exchange program. So as a farm, we create a profile, write information about the farm, what we do, and then sort of what the exchange is. Some farms are like 20 hours for room and board, might be a tent and like forage off the farm yourself. At Kahumana, we have a 35-hour work exchange for a bed in the farmhouse and all meals at the cafe. So it's a pretty nice exchange. Yeah. So hence why we ask a little bit more as far as the work goes. We've had, when I first started, we were doing only woofing. And it was
in terms of staffing the farm?
Besides me and Keli'i, we were the only two full-time employed staff members. Everyone else was woofers. And yeah, there's a lot of challenges that go along with that, but also a lot of benefits. You get a lot of interesting people coming through, a lot of ideas, and just input. But you also have the people who are just trying to look for an easy vacation, and this using woofing as a way to travel, which is great. I highly encourage it. However, as a production farm, it's very difficult.
Yeah.
And were you guys going the woofer route to expand your capacity to grow more, or did you want to primarily just open it up to give people a different experience of Hawaii that were traveling, or was it more you wanted to get some labor?
Well, when I started, it was labor. In the past, like the farm, since the founding of the organization, it's on ag land, so we've always had some sort of farm. But in the past, it was mainly a program farm. And then recently, we've tried to refocus it to be more of a production base to sort of like break even. And so that, requires a little bit more work and more of a steady source of labor. And that's why we're sort of transitioning out of woofers.
So, you guys have mentioned briefly a couple of programs or services. It sounds like this started as a program farm and expanded. So it sounds like there's a lot going on. If you could kind of clarify and what Kahumana started off as, if it was one of these programs or the cafe, or kind of walk us through that evolution.
Yeah, he's the man for this question.
All right. Well, yeah. So Kahumana, a lot of people just come to the farm and the cafe, and they think we're just this farm and cafe. But I like to say that's just like the tip of the iceberg. We're actually part of a much larger nonprofit called Alternative Structures International. We were founded in 1974, and they moved out to Waianae in 1978. The original mission was we were working with chronically mentally ill. We had a contract with the Department of Health, and for close to 30 years, that was the main focus of the organization. And then sort of in the early 90s, they started developing a transitional housing program where it's actually now grown to where we have 125 families that are going through a 2-year program, with the end goal being that when they leave, they have a permanent residence and a permanent job. So we have about 600 individuals between our two sites, Ohana Ola and Ulu Kekukui. About 2/3 of them are children, because to qualify to enter the program, you have to have a minor dependent.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's like about half of our organization is focused on the transitional housing. And then we have the Kahumana site, where we have what we call our social ventures or social enterprises, which are supposed to support our social programs through programming and eventually revenue.
Yeah.
So we have four social enterprises. We have the cafe, we have the farm, we have a retreat center and bed and breakfast, and then we have another commercial kitchen where we actually produce about 1,200 meals a day for after-school programs, YMCAs, Head Starts. Those are all mostly state contracts, USDA contracts. And then our newest social program, it's been going for about 1.5 years now. It's called Halelana o Kahumana. It's a day program for people with developmental disabilities. So it's a Monday through Friday program. They arrive about 8:30 in the morning. They start off with an hour, 45 minutes to an hour of yoga, sort of this clearing their mind, forgetting about whatever happened at home before they got there, just grounding themselves at Kahumana. And then they'll come out into the farm for 2 hours. We have a designated little plot for them where they plant stuff and they water, they weed, they harvest. It's like their area. And then also, depending on the day and what we're doing, they'll actually help us too. On Fridays for our CSA, we will have a group of them working with us in the wash area, bagging salad, weighing out carrots, things like that. Yeah, that's our newest social program. But at the heart of our organization, it's always been, we're trying to take care of the most vulnerable people of our society in a holistic and healthy way, and trying, and also inclusive. So we in all of our programs, we want to try to integrate them as much as possible. And the farm is sort of at the heart of it, and we're trying to link, right now our biggest focus is trying to link our different programs directly with the farm. So we have the participants from Halelana coming out on a daily basis. We're really working closely with Ohana Ola right now. We just started a keiki program, so twice a week we get about 10 or so kids.
On average.
They come down and they just work on the farm.
So the next round of WOOFers.
Yeah, starting them young.
Future farmers of Waianae.
And then we also have what we call transitional jobs, which the whole goal is to get people from our transitional housing to get a transitional job where we will hire them part-time in one of our social ventures with on a short-term job. It's not like a long-term thing, trying to get them into a permanent job on the outside. So that's a new program we're just starting up. So, a lot going on. A lot of people, like I said, just come up to the cafe and farm like, oh, that's it. Yeah.
Awesome. So we are going to take a quick break and then kind of dive a little deeper into all the things going on.
Beautiful.
Sounds good.
Awesome.
Hi, I'm Donna Blanchard. I'm the host of Center Stage here on Think Tech. This show is so very dear to my heart. We talk with artists of various different ilk here about the process that they go through for their art. So we talk about what they're doing, why they're doing it, how they do it. And it's a show that is inspiring. This is what I hear from people all the time. And a show that will teach you something, sometimes something about yourself. I hope you'll join us. The show is Center Stage. It's on Think Tech every Wednesday at 2 o'clock. We'll see you then.
Aloha! How you doing? It's me, Angus McTech, wishing you to welcome and join us to see us on Hibachi Talk on Think Tech Hawaii. Join my co-hosts, Gordo the Tech Czar and Andrew the Security Guy, every Friday from 1300 to 1345. We look forward to seeing you. We'll talk tech and we'll have some wee bit of fun. And remember, let your wing gang free wherever you be. Aloha!
Aloha and welcome back to Hawaii Farmer Series. I'm your co-host Csa Spiritu. My co-host Matthew Johnson is here. Our guests today are Christian and Keli'i from Kahumana Farms and Cafe and millions of other things that are going on that we're kind of getting into.
Just getting started.
Yeah, we got kind of an overview of some of the services and programs and kind of want to go back to the farm and different things that are going on there. What you're kind of focused on and growing in your area.
Awesome. Yeah, like Christian said before, originally the farm was a program farm, but since we've been in charge, we have been gearing up towards being a financially viable production farm. You know, really trying to cultivate all the land we have available on the site we're using and pulling in some money off of selling produce.
So transitioning that purpose from program to revenue, what has changed? Is there any difference in what you guys decided to grow, or what kind of changes did that bring to it?
I'd say for the first few years, we would call it almost our experimental phase, where, you know, out in Waianae, we got beautiful soil, beautiful sun, not much water, but we are irrigated, so we were able to control that as well. So we tried to see what we do well, you know, what we can grow well and what doesn't grow well, especially as based on organic practices. There are some things that take a lot of extra work, you know, with pests and things like that, and end up not being a viable large-scale crop for us.
What were some of those? Just out of
things
curiosity.
like corn. We've had small patches of corn that have done well, and we've tried to expand, and it doesn't do well because the bugs find it.
Yeah.
We've had certain things like kohlrabi. We had our first time we planted kohlrabi. It was gorgeous. I've never seen the plant before, and I was in love with it. We planted it again, and it was decimated by bugs again. So we're learning that certain things just aren't worth the effort. You know, you can, if you maintain things, if you have a regular organic pesticide regimen, you can control things, but at the end of the day, we have to evaluate time cost management, you know. But what we have been really good at since day one has been our baby green mix, our organic cakey greens salad mix. We do on average about 100, 200 pounds a week now.
150, 200 pounds. So.
Wow.
Of little baby greens.
little babies.
Yeah.
Like, you know, a mix of, almost 10 different greens that go into it, from kales, you know, mizuna, tatsoi, mustard greens, lettuce. So that is one of our biggest, if not our biggest product that we sell. We also do a wide range of other leafy greens, kales, curly kale, dino kale, Swiss chard, Okinawan spinach, ung choy, bok choy. You know, we are still pretty diversified, but we've narrowed it down to the things we do well.
Yeah, that's a long list, actually.
I got more to
And
go.
how much space are you working with that you guys are cultivating?
The property itself is 14 acres, but like we said, we are a nonprofit with a lot of social missions, so there's a lot of housing. So the farm itself consists of about 9 acres of the property. And as far as field production, we're about 2 acres and
Just shy of 2 acres, about 1.8 in total.
in actual row production. There's another, I'd say the rest is like 3.5 acres of fruit trees. A nice little 3/4 acre dragon fruit plot.
Nice.
And we have a roughly 3/4 acre chicken coop.
Yeah. Half
We
acre,
have 3
3/4.
range chicken coops.
So I know you guys, you started off as being certified organic, but you're still using organic practices. Can you talk a little bit about that? Like, what kind of things are you doing, or some of the challenges of being organic? And then also talk a little bit about your decision, I guess, not to be certified organic. That's something we always kind of like to talk about. There's differences between the types of growing. So what's your methodology behind that?
So pretty much like when I started, the previous farm manager had let the certification lapse because he was trying to pursue a biodynamic certification. And then once he went into biodynamics, he found out that to be biodynamic certified, we couldn't have aquaponics.
Oh, wow.
So then we ended up having no certification.
Yeah.
And if you're familiar with the organic certification process, which I'm currently getting myself into, it's a lot of paperwork.
Yeah.
It's like the stack is like that big, and
So it's like the record keeping you have to do, and okay.
so you have to have 3 years of records of your farm, of like what you grew, any inputs you like use, like composting, if you use any like pesticides, things like that. It all has to be recorded, and you have to have 3 years worth of it.
Yeah.
And so up until recently, we've sort of not needed to be certified because we were, you know, it just wasn't a priority for us. It was like we were trying to get our production up to a point where, you know, we didn't have to focus too much on that. And it's only been the last few months that we're sort of leveled off. We have everything at Kahumana under production now, so now we're really rethinking. It's like, all right, I think it's time to recertify. And also, I feel comfortable because I've been working there for 3 months, or 3 years.
How comfortable.
Yeah. And so now I have like the 3 years worth of records to actually go back and do the certification.
Oh, cool.
Well, do you see that demand from your customers that they want to see the certification?
So as far as restaurants, it's been they're okay with us, you know, they know we're organic. We're probably more organic than a lot of the organic farms, certified organic farms. However, where it comes to be an issue is retail. So places like Foodland, Whole Foods, Down to Earth, to sell organic, to put that label on their the vegetables, it has to be certified.
Yeah.
And as a farm, because we're not certified, we can't charge that premium because they can't charge the premium.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Even though our practices have never changed from the 30-year history that this place has, you know, the certification for the scale that we've now raised the production to, it's getting to the point where the certification is necessary for that next jump. Like you said, to get to the retailers.
Yeah, that's interesting because I feel like a lot of the farmers I'm more familiar with are more of the route. We know who we sell our food to, they know us, so that process, they're like, it's not really worth it. But I guess, yeah, when you're looking at the different customers, that's where
like Christian said, it's an extreme amount of red tape and paperwork, and it's very daunting to any small scale farmer to have to deal with that, especially if you're dealing with it yourself, you know. So it's been something that we have a lot of loyal customers who know us like that. We were in that category for a long time, but for us to get to that next level, we need that paperwork.
So then you'll have to have like a third-party certifier come out. So when you guys are ready, they'll come out and make sure you meet all the checklists that they have, and then you'll get that USDA certification.
Yes. So, you know, right now we're working with International Certification Services. ICS. And we're literally just in the first steps. You know, I just applied for the application. They sent me that in. I did the deposit. They sent me all the paperwork, and then I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Where do I start? So we actually have a representative. She lives over on Maui, so she's going to be working with us, and hopefully to get this done in the next couple months.
So they do, and my experience with ICS is it is a daunting process, but they are pretty helpful, and you know, they've got a great team of people that will, you know, help farmers go through that, which is nice.
The few questions I've had, she's been really quick at responding and helping out, so that's good. Good to know.
Yeah. I'm curious of the biodynamic elements. What does that entail? I think I've only heard kind of like voodoo stuff. So if you want to dispel some of that,
that's what it is.
Yeah, just to kind of educate us.
I wouldn't say I'm an expert on biodynamics. Kahumana was actually biodynamic certified at one point, maybe about 10 years ago, 10, 15 years ago. So I was here for that, I guess, but I was a little kid. And it's sort of like organics, but the next level. That's the way I like to look at it. It's taking it, even more into account, looking at the farm as really like a living organism. So you're really trying to put back into the soil, be in tune with what's happening. There's a lot of planting with the moon cycles, with star patterns, things like that. Big component is like biodynamic preps, where they take different minerals and plants, and they will put them into, there's what is this called? It's like 501, I think. And it's a barrel compost. So you take a cow's horn, fill it with these herbs and minerals, and bury it in a compost pile for a year. And you take it out, and then you mix it with water, and then you spread it around your farm. And it's supposed to revitalize your farm and give it some new
So you're
energy.
it's about creating these different amendments that you can then spray on. Okay.
It's a very specific method of soil fertility.
Okay.
That's really a huge component of it, is the soil fertility, the astrological impact on your farming cycles, and like Christian said, the idea that the farm is one organism made up of many parts, where the farm, to be healthy, needs all of its parts to be healthy.
That makes sense to me.
Right? It's a good method. It's when you get into it, it gets pretty specific at times.
Yeah,
and
sounds pretty intense.
Yeah, as far as for a lot of production farms, it's not financially viable because sometimes you have a schedule of demand over a schedule of the stars.
Right.
Do you think we'll ever get to a point where there'll be like customer demand for that? You know, the same way
there is
organic?
It depends what region of the world you're in. You know, there already are a lot of demand for BD produce, which sells even at a higher premium than organic.
Wow.
A lot of your wines are biodynamic farms. There's more and more switching to biodynamics because there's actually like scientific evidence that biodynamically grown grapes produce a much higher grade of like wine. So you'll see a lot of wine that says biodynamic.
Oh wow.
Especially in Europe, you have a lot more. It's like that's where it like came out of, is from Germany and Central Europe.
Cool. Can you guys talk a little bit about the cafe? I mean, that's another big part of the farm, and also let people know like where is the cafe? When can you come and eat there?
Yeah. So the cafe was sort of came to be as when we were stopped being a special treatment facility and they needed to convert the cafeteria into something else. And we were going to farmers markets at the time. Robert, who's the cafe manager, also my dad, he was doing farmers markets and people were buying the vegetables and like, how do we cook this? What do we do with it? And they're like, you should open a restaurant and cook it so we don't have to. And that's sort of how it came to be. Out in Waianae, there's a lot of issues with diabetes and obesity, so the whole sort of model of the cafe was really to make healthy, good food available to the community at a reasonable price. And that's sort of where it started, and you know, it sort of evolved and grown from there.
In terms of making it at a reasonable price, do you guys have to subsidize that at all to make it affordable, or how does that work out?
It's hard, you know, just because it is the cafe is like also sort of struggling. It's not, you know, we've sort of had to increase the prices a little bit, but it's still, we never go over like $22 for like a special. And that's, you know, like fresh fish, you know, organic ingredients, you know, something you'd probably pay a lot more elsewhere. So.
Yeah.
But, you know, like as far as the, what the cafe's goals are, it's first what we can get from the farm, then it's organic, then it's local, and then it's what you gotta do because it's a restaurant. So.
That's awesome. It's nice to always hear the kind of priority list in that way, you know, trying to get, you know, what are your values, but what's realistic. So we're gonna take another quick break and then be right back.
Here's the deal. I'm Jay Fidel. I'm the host of Hawaii, the State of Clean Energy, which is the Energy Policy Forum's program on Wednesday. That's how we call Wednesday Energy Wednesday. We call it Energy Wednesday every Wednesday. Are you surprised? Okay, and we get guys like Jim Alberts here from Hawaiian Electric who can tell us what's really going on in energy. We want to be informed. It's so important. It's the most important initiative in our state. Clean energy is major, okay? And that's why we cover it on this show. That's the deal. What do you think, Sharon?
I think that's great. That's why we're here every Wednesday from 4 to 5, and we hope you all join us so we can hear people like Jim coming on our show and co-host Ray Starley from Hawaii Energy.
Okay, Jim, you've been here today. You've seen this. You heard what she said. What do you think?
I think it's a tremendous opportunity for people to come together and talk about the issues. Oftentimes, there isn't a good forum to bring these key issues out into the public, and this is a tremendous way to go about it. And the activity of this show is essential to keep talking about energy because, as you said, it's such an essential part of our lives that we need to pay attention to it and we need to think about the future.
Okay, Ray, your turn.
Well, this is a special time in the history of Hawaii where we're making some pretty radical changes in the way we use energy and generate energy. And this show is the one place you can count on coming to every Wednesday and hearing something about the latest issues that are on the table, being discussed, that will affect us all going forward. So come join us, and if you have some ideas you want to share with us about energy, give us a call and let us know. We'll put you up here and let you talk for an hour. So come see us.
Thanks, Ray. Thanks, Sharon. Thanks, Jim. It's great to be, from Think Tech's point of view, it's great to have this show. We love the show. It's our most important show. So come around and listen to us 4 to 5 on Wednesday. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Aloha and welcome to our last 15 minutes with our lovely guests. You're watching a Hawaii Farmer series as you do every single Thursday. I'm your co-host Justini Spiritu. This is Matthew Johnson. Our guests today are Christian and Keli'i. And they have a farm and multiple social programs and a cafe. And now we're gonna get into, you guys have done everything, so what's next? How are you gonna expand on that?
Hey, what's the future of Kahumana?
Oh, I wonder that week to week, day to day. But I don't know. We have a lot of different things that we're trying to do. We have a lot of aspirations. There's endless work as a farmer, and on top of all those endless work, we have endless new ideas to try to implement. And we're actually pretty good at, for the most part, about implementing them. But right now at Kahumana, like we said, is a 14-acre property. The farm is about 9 acres. We have an additional 16-acre property about right up the road from us, and which is also ag land. And we are hoping to start expanding into that in the next 6 months to a year.
Cool.
In order to expand, how do you need to build your capacity for that? Is that hiring more staff? Do you need more money? Okay.
Money is the big one.
Staff.
Yeah. So there's the infrastructure. Is what we need to get an ag line. Just to get a 2-inch ag meter, it can be anywhere from $60,000 to $80,000.
Wait, say it again?
Yeah, just a 2-inch ag meter, $60,000 to $80,000.
And this is like the main line coming from for irrigation.
Yeah, that's just for the city and county to come in, or Department of Water to put a meter in.
Wow.
And then we have to still get the water to the field.
Yeah. Wow, that's insane.
Yeah. And then there's the grubbing of the land, and then of course more staff because there's only so few of us and a lot more to do.
Yeah.
So
you have to get those 12-year-old new woofers working overtime.
21 and over.
But so that's going to be the big focus in the next few months. But first we got to get through our busy harvest season, and then once the summer months come in, we'll be scaling back as far as production on the farm. We're bringing seasonal farming to Hawaii. We're going to be ones to spearhead it. But we're going to use the summer months when it's really hot out in Waianae and things aren't growing that well to really try to focus on the expansion plan.
Okay. So you're going to scale down on your production and then work on other things.
Yeah, so last 3 years we've struggled through every summer where we're trying to grow the same thing. We're trying to grow our carrots, our beets, our radishes, our kales, chards, and it never does well. So we're like, all right, what are we doing? We're wasting time, we're wasting money. And so this year we're going to try a new tactic where we're just going to not grow any of that and just go baby greens because they still do well in the summer and focus on cherry tomatoes, a lot of cherry tomatoes. And
so that's a new product for you guys? Yeah, I haven't really seen much of those before.
Yeah, only done in small scale right now for the cafe. That's why we're hoping to try and make it a large scale.
So with your guys' expansion, I'm curious, so now that you're veteran farmers, what are you thinking about differently now that this is kind of like a new landscape for you? What are you going to have any different approaches, or have you figured everything out already, or what are you thinking that might be a little bit different than what you've been doing already?
I'd say that every day, if I haven't learned something new, it's not a good day. So there's never...
It needs to go on a t-shirt or something. Wow. Somebody write that. Oh, it's being recorded. Okay, that's good.
So, it's definitely learning day by day, So always new challenges that arise and have to figure out how to get around it. But I don't know, I think a few key things that we have taken away in the last few years is that we're really trying to switch our focus from woofing to sort of this volunteer labor to more of a longer term sort of workforce, where we call it our apprentice program. So it's we've had it going for a year and a half now?
Yeah, about. Danny was first full time?
Yeah, and he was in November, so yeah. A little over a year and a half.
Okay.
And the whole program, it's we used to call it internship, but then people are asking where's the classroom time? It's like, oh no, this is a hands-on learning experience.
It's out in the field of weeding.
And are you trying to, for the internship or apprenticeship, are you trying to attract folks in your community that need job development, or are you also trying to attract those folks coming internationally that just want to experience?
Both, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We definitely, we actually are hoping to hire on a new apprentice coming very soon, who is a local kid from Waianae, which is exciting. You know, we're all about local, you know. So the more local help we can get into the farm is great. Just getting the interest out there for people it's not always the most popular profession among young kids.
Mm-hmm.
However, you know, more and more people are interested and want to be farmers, so that's good for us.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, as far as like what the program is, it's a year-long commitment, full-time sort of gig. You get room and board plus a stipend, and we're really looking for people who they don't necessarily need to be farmers in the future, but they want to at least learn about farming. They want to be a part of their food systems and really get that education and hands-on experience.
Yeah.
So, you know, right now I think half of our apprentices are from Hawaii, and then the other half are from like the mainland. So we got a nice diverse group.
And when you're talking about building these programs and expanding your land, is that something you have to do and plan around? Okay, well, you're using the revenue from the cafe, or are you finding opportunities or resources that can kind of support that growth?
So as a nonprofit, pretty much any new program or expansion we usually go via grants. So we apply for funding, apply to foundations, USDA grants, things like that. That would be sort of like the startup capital.
Yeah.
We know we have some capital ourselves we can put up, but not really enough.
Yeah.
So there's always a challenge. There's so many expenses when it comes to farming that, you know, it's really hard to, you know, that's why there aren't very many small farms anymore, is because they can't meet the overhead that it costs, you know, what it takes to run a farm.
Yeah.
So that's it.
We have to be willing to diversify where we get funding from, you know, like grants, like production. We also work on trying to build our agro-tourism program. You know, we are one of the few farms with an actual bed and breakfast in it, where you can sleep in a really nice room and get a nice warm meal and breakfast, and then be on a farm at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think anywhere else in this island, at least, offers it. Maybe the state.
Yeah.
But on top of that, we've been starting event planning as well, where we are now into our 4th annual Kahumana Farm Fest.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we were there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember that?
I remember that.
This year is going to be May 21st.
All right.
Full day event, you know, where the goal is about promoting, you know, local food systems, promoting the farm. You know, it's a free event for the community, but we have live music. I think, was it Mike Love headline last year?
Yeah.
It was a pretty good popular.
And lots of different food vendors, and you guys even have a farmer's market going where
Yep.
people can buy the produce.
Farmers market, we have farmers workshops.
Yeah.
You know, we had the largest seed and plant exchange giveaway.
Oh yeah.
Over 5,000 plants were given away,
cool.
and seeds.
Yeah.
Yang barbecued some mushrooms, grilled some mushrooms.
Quite the event. But yeah, so we're having our 4th annual, May 21st. Come and be there. So it'll be great.
All right.
Yeah. Added on to our list of hats we wear.
And so where can we find more information about the event and about you guys?
You can follow us on Facebook, Kahumana Organic Farm. That's probably the most actively updated media. We're also on Instagram as Kahumana Organic Farm. And then our website is www.kahumana.org. And you can find out more information about our larger nonprofit and other programs we run.
Cool. So how about you guys' CSA program? We didn't really talk too much about that yet. And that's another component. Or I guess also talk about where can people find your products outside of the cafe?
Oh, great question.
Thank you. I got a great question.
One for Matt.
How many do you have so far today?
I know it's rare, so bask in it. The CSA program, for those who aren't familiar, community supported agriculture. It is pretty much buying a share into the farm. Now, the program started in mid-'80s, roughly, across the nation, where it's about investing into a farm. So you pay an upfront cost, and then in the beginning of the season, it's mostly for seasonal farms, and then as the vegetables grow, the farmers get a startup fund for their seeds, tools, labor, And then as their vegetables start coming in, you then get a weekly supply of fresh vegetables. Out here in Hawaii, we grow all year round, so it's not as much in the beginning of the season to the end of the season, but monthly. So we offer a trial box to see if you're interested in it, and then we go by monthly basis. So you pay up front for 4 weeks, and then you get a box of about 13 to 15 items from the farm every week. Our fruit is seasonal, then we always have our greens in there, we always do roots and herbs. So it ends up being a large value. If you went to Whole Foods to buy what you get in the box, you'd be paying 2-3 times the price.
And what's the cost of your box?
$25 a week.
Oh, wow.
So it's a pretty darn good deal.
Nice.
As far as our produce being elsewhere, we outside the CSA, we do one farmers market, keeping it local, the Waianae Farmers Market on Saturday mornings, 8 to 12, in the Waianae Mall parking lot. We also, our largest customer base though is our restaurants. So we support a lot of beautiful local restaurants on the island, from places in Kolina such as Roy's and Monkey Pod, as well as in Kapolei, we're in Plantation Tavern. We have a lot of spots in town, including Town, Kamakisa Bread, Mudhen Water, Cocoa Head Cafe.
That's what I see the most in Milwaukee.
They are one of our bigger, they're one of our bigger customers. High Blend Cafe, which we just ate at, it's delicious. Go there.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm probably missing a few.
Cactus and Kailua.
Yeah, like I said, we are now starting to work with Foodland, at certain things. So hopefully, in the next coming year, you will be able to find our vegetables island-wide everywhere.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
It must be super rewarding when you guys go to the restaurants that are, serving the products, because you probably sometimes forget about that part of it. So are you kind of like a mini rock star when you walked into High Blend? They just start cheering, everyone's like, yeah!
In my head, that's what in reality, it was just a very friendly man behind the counter who was happy to hear that we came to visit, That's usually what it is. Oh yeah, Seed. Don't forget Seed Restaurant, because they are also another social mission with a business, so it's good to be a part of them.
And before we end right now, let's just, could you clarify your apparel for us? Do you also work for KFC Fried Chicken?
No, I do not. This hat is a little spin. It's for Kahumana Farm and Cafe. I don't know if you can see the ampersand in there.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, we were kind of confused over here.
Yeah, there you go. Just a little play on logos there.
Awesome.
Please.
Very clever and brilliant. Our time is over. Thank you so much for coming down here and sharing what you guys do and offering us another perspective from producers here on Oahu.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, appreciate it.
All right.